Hello, and welcome back to another draft player analysis video. Today, Dak Prescott, quarterback, Mississippi State. Dak Prescott, 6'2", 226 pounds. Senior Bowl MVP, 2016. Sorry about that. Preseason All-SEC, 2015. Belk Bowl MVP, 2015. First Team All-SEC, 2014. Academic All-SEC, 2013 and 2014. Just let me throw him here in the starting lineup. Okay. I just like to use the players I just created just to show you what I think of their overall stats and how they're going to perform in the NFL. By the way, stats. 9,000 career passing yards, 70 touchdowns to 22 interceptions, with a completion percentage of 63% and a quarterback rating of 146. 2,500 rushing yards and 41 rushing touchdowns. Combine stats. 4.79 40-yard dash. 7.11 three-cone drill. 32.5-inch vertical. 11 feet, 6-inch broad jump. My thoughts on Dak Prescott before I get into the pros and cons. I think he will be a developmental player who a team will draft to one day either be a really good backup or a solid NFL starter. I couldn't really find anyone to compare him to that gave me like a good comparison. So I don't have one like with Connor Cook. The other three that I did that had comparisons, I felt really strongly about my comparison. Everyone else, I guess, these other guys, I'll probably have one for Christian Hackenburg. Thanks for letting me slide, Madden. Pros. He has a pretty quick release. I think his release is quick. I think the ball gets to where it needs to be pretty quickly. It's not as quick as, say, Connor Cook or Carson Wentz, who I feel have some of the quickest releases in this draft. But it's more along the lines of maybe a Paxton Lynch. Oh, excuse me. Movement in the pocket. I feel like while he's in the pocket, he moves around very well. I saw a couple instances where, guys swarming him, takes one quick big step up in the pocket and makes a really good play. Throws it in to tight coverage, receiver comes down with it, and just makes good plays in the pocket when he has time. Mississippi State's offensive line this year wasn't the greatest. It wasn't very consistent. He took a lot of hits, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I felt like his pocket movement was very good when he had time to look through his progressions. His accuracy. He's pretty decently accurate in my mind. I feel the ball gets to where it needs to be. He gives his receivers a good chance to make a catch every single time he has the ball. And, he gives them their best shot of catching the ball. I think he goes through his progressions decently quick. he moves well in the pocket, and I think he makes his progressions quickly. But I know I read a couple where they think his progression speed isn't as quick as it should be. I think it's decently quick. It's not like Carson Wentz or Jared Goff who make theirs very quickly. But I think it's decently quick for where I have him projected currently. And he throws the ball away under pressure. I saw a couple instances where he rolled out, knew a guy was chasing him, did one scan of like guys on the right side of the field. You know, let's say he's rolling out to the right. He'd do a quick scan of the right side of the field, realize he couldn't get it, and just throw it away. And last, this one's a little objective. I felt like I watched his LSU game tape. Mississippi State did not play a good game. And the only reason they stayed in that game, I felt, was because of him. I felt like he played very well towards the end, and he made one very, very bad mistake that cost him that game. And I think there is a lot of things that he does well, and I think there is just as many things that he doesn't do right. All right, so my first con, he throws in the coverage a lot. He'll throw into tight man-to-man a lot. Again, I watched the LSU one. He threw into man coverage, tight coverage, almost every single chance he had. And his accuracy helped him give the receivers a chance to make those plays. But the fact that he still threw in the coverage and still got extremely lucky with some of those plays that he made. Another con is he ran a spread offense. He almost never took snaps from under center. Oh my God, really? He almost never took a snap from under center, so before the combine, we had no clue how he would look taking dropbacks. Now, sadly, NFL.com sucks dick and doesn't allow you to see every single player's, combine. They only give you like 5 players, and it's guys who they know are going to be top 10 picks, which pisses me off greatly, because I don't get to see guys like Jack Conklin and whatnot, whom I really like, work out. So I don't really know what else to say. I didn't get to see his dropbacks at the combine. I heard they were very good. I heard he dropped back well. He threw well at the combine. So I'm basing off of what I've heard. Deep ball inconsistencies. I feel like that's a big thing with a couple quarterbacks in this draft, that their deep ball is inconsistent. That they can't throw the same deep ball almost every single time. Which, I mean, I didn't get to see him throw the ball deep much, but when he did, it wasn't there a lot of the time. So, when he did throw the deep ball, it didn't look very good, and again, it was almost always into tight coverage. And my last big con is that he doesn't slide when he runs. He took a big beating at Mississippi State. His offensive line wasn't good. He got hit a lot. And him not sliding when he ran didn't help him. He needs to learn how to slide because, I mean, there's not always a team. He's not always going to be on a team like a Dallas Cowboys offensive line where he's going to have time to throw it. But if he has time to throw it, I think he could be very good. I think he could develop well into an eventual NFL starter or a good backup. So, I have him projected as a late 3rd rounder to a mid 4th rounder. And so my first team is Dallas in the 4th round. I have him projected to Dallas in the 4th, mostly because they need a quarterback. It's just who do they want? I think Dak Prescott would fit well in Dallas, and I think he could play well behind Tony Romo and eventually maybe take over a starting role. I think he's talented enough to take over an NFL starting role, just not day one. So Dallas is definitely a potential landing spot, I guess I could say. Dallas obviously wants to take a quarterback this year. It's just, do they take one at number 4? Do they go with a guy in the 3rd round? Who do they take? Because Romo can't play forever. When he was hurt, they played very poorly. And they just need someone who can back him up, who they can trust and develop into a starter eventually. Next, I have the San Francisco 49ers. I think he would fit well in Chip Kelly's style of offense. He's a quick, big guy who can throw the ball on the run, who can run a play action, who can run read option, all of those things. And I think if San Fran really likes him, they can even take him in the 3rd round. But that team had a lot more issues. So I don't 100% know. I know San Fran, if he fell to him in the 4th round, should definitely take a shot at him. I think he would work well in Chip Kelly's offense, and once he develops into a better passer and a more competent runner, he could take over a starting role there quick. And if I had to compare him to Colin Kaepernick, he's a better thrower. He's just not as competent running. Kaepernick at least knows when to slide. But overall, I think Prescott is an overall better player than Colin Kaepernick. So, next team, Chicago, in the 4th round. Chicago has a lot of needs on that team. Backup quarterback isn't a huge priority at this point. So, they could, definitely try and go for a guy in a later round who they think can develop into either a solid backup and eventual starter. Again, but Chicago, I currently have Connor Cook projected to Chicago. Really? Des Bryant? Sometimes Des Bryant drop balls. That's a joke. I had the Jets in the 4th round. Again, the Jets need a backup who can develop. If they don't believe that Bryce Petty could be that guy someday, they can get a guy in this draft, which is one of the better quarterback drafts since maybe 2012. And even that one wasn't amazing. I mean, the only couple guys on there who are still starters that I know of, I can't really think of anyone else, but Russ Wilson and Andrew Luck. I'm pretty sure they were both in 2012. RG3 isn't a starter, and Kaepernick sucks. So, the Jets they can develop him behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he could be solid and be a eventual starter. I don't know if he would work with Todd Bowles. Again, it depends on how Bowles wants to run him. But I think Todd Bowles, whatever his name is wants more of a drop-back passer. So, I have Houston at 4. They need a quarterback, and they need a guy who can step in and start. And so, I mean, they could go Prescott and let him develop into a starter. and they can just deal with Brian Hoyer. But this team is built to win now. Houston is a team that's built to win, like was built to win the past couple of years and is built to win in the next couple of years. So if they really want to win now, they need to draft a guy who could step in and start within the next 2 years. I don't think that's Prescott. He's more of a 4 or 5 kind of year developmental process, kind of like a Brock Osweiler. They let him sit, and he developed into a very solid starter. Next, I have Kansas City in the 3rd and or 4th round. Chase Daniels might be out the door. Alex Smith is getting up there in age. And Dak Prescott's I've seen a lot of comparisons to a less polished version of Donovan McNabb. I've seen a couple of those comparisons. You know, I've seen like he looks like Donovan McNabb, except he doesn't play as well. You know, I mean, Andy Reid did some really good things with Donovan McNabb back in Philly. So he could take a guy who's kind of like McNabb and maybe do some good things with him. If Chase Daniels doesn't leave Kansas City, they won't take a quarterback. They have no need to. Chase Daniels is one of the better backups in the NFL right now. But if Chase Daniels leaves, they might target quarterback because Tyler Bray and Aaron Murray aren't those guys. And I have one last team, the Denver Broncos. If Peyton retires and they start Osweiler, they need a new backup. And they need a guy who they can maybe develop into a solid backup or an eventual starter. So if Osweiler, Osweiler is obviously probably going to sign a contract with Denver. He gives them the best chance to win, and they need a quarterback because Peyton's probably retiring. And if he does retire, he's not coming back to Denver. So they need someone who can back up Osweiler, and I think Prescott could be that guy. So I really think Denver will take him maybe at the bottom of the 3rd round. I doubt that he'll fall all the way to the very, very bottom of the 4th round. There are a lot of teams drafting, and I think he is too talented to fall into the 5th. He has a lot of talent and a lot of promise. It's just he needs to develop properly. And I feel like that's like the big thing with this draft class. They all have extreme amounts of talent. It's just if they develop properly. Because we've all seen quarterbacks who've had talent coming out of college who just never developed and never played right and never played good. Someone like, I don't want to say Blaine Gabbert because he actually had a solid season in San Fran. No, he had a solid season in San Francisco. Jake Locker never really had a chance. They tried to let him develop, and they just never gave him a great chance to do it. So maybe a Jake Locker, maybe a Christian Ponder, who I guess was thrown into a starting role too quickly. He was too young when he was thrown into a starting role. And again, I think that hurt his development process. Because I think all 4 of those quarterbacks drafted in 2011 before Newton were solid coming out of college. It's just they never had time to develop into the NFL game because they were all thrown into starting roles too quickly. So I believe that Dallas will select Dak Prescott, quarterback, Mississippi State, in the 4th round of the NFL draft. I think this because I don't know if they really want to take one of those top 3 guys, even top 2. I don't know if they want to take one of them. I think if I was Dallas, I probably would. I mean, you're a team that's on the cusp of being amazing and being a contender. But they need, because Romo can't stay healthy all the time. I mean, he's always been kind of a guy who's injury prone. Excuse me. Romo's always been kind of injury prone. So they can't rely on him all the time, and Romo's going to be done in a couple years. But they have bigger issues. I personally think they would draft a quarterback at 4 because the issues that this team has can be addressed in later rounds because more or less they have really good starters. They maybe only need some pass rush. And maybe some better defensive black. I'm racist. I'm officially racist now. Some better defensive back play. So I think Dallas will take Prescott in the 4th round. I think he's talented and he will develop. And it'll give Romo time to finish out his career in proper fashion. And it'll give Prescott a lot of time to develop into a starter. So, this was recorded on Saturday. It will probably go up on Sunday. So, expect Christian Hackenburg on Monday. And I don't know. I might do one more quarterback. I'll see if anyone catches my eye. Yeah, I'm just going to go and look at some tape for some of the guys who did really well at the Combine. If anyone catches my eye, I expect maybe one more quarterback. But Hackenburg is probably my last guy. That was me crumbling up my paper that I had this all written down on. But expect Hackenburg on Monday. Maybe another quarterback on Tuesday. Not likely. And I will announce what I'm doing on Monday, if I'm doing another quarterback, or I'm going to move on to my next position group. So, come on, mouse. Alright, this is J-Wax, signing off.